Rain sat up when she noticed Matt's breathing slow. Breaking from his thoughts, Soren gave a nod and motioned toward the door. He waited until both girls were present to begin. Before we go after Vancelin, I'm going to give you a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. If I were to place Vancelin's abilities at an 8, without embellishing, where would you place yourself in conjecture? Leah frowned. She might have learned fencing, but she'd never handled a real sword. I'd give myself a 2, I guess, she said honestly as her face colored. Rain mulled over the question. A 6 compared to Vance. He's strong. Okay, well, I'm about a 5, so I guess that makes you the lucky winner. First things first, we're gonna need to find his room, which I'm pretty sure is upstairs. As far as getting inside goes, I can handle that, though he'll probably be well prepared. Rand placed her hands in her pockets. Do you think he'll have the door rigged? Probably. I'm hoping we'll get lucky, but I can't be sure. Stepping into the elevator, they took it to the top floor, which just so happened to be the 6th. Is his room 666? Because that would be the cherry on top. That's the first place we should look. This is ridiculous. Rain's eyes flared red. That's Vance for you. What did I tell you? He'd find the biggest, most expensive hotel and make sure that everybody knew about it. Soren approached the door to the room 696, considering they didn't make hotel rooms with the number 666. Examining it for a second, he drew a deep breath. Don't touch it, he warned as a strange energy began to creep off its surface. He's got it grimdarked. So anyone who touches it gets tapped by his energy? Leah figured. What about Rain? She controls darkness. Rain began to scowl. She hadn't told Soren that piece of information willingly. That's interesting, and a little unsettling. I guess you really are the person for this job, then. I'm not going to be able to go in, he admitted. If I enter that room, he'll know. Think of it like a trip alarm registered to react to certain energies. You might be able to get through unnoticed, but you'll have to go in alone. What? Rain scowled as he broke the news. You're the one who knows how to deal with him. I do, but if I walk through that door, he'll be gone in 10 seconds, and it could be another 6 months before I find him again. He's asleep, that much I do know. All you would have to do is go in and apply the compress. It should only take a minute. When he enters stasis, you'll know. After that, the Grimdark will lose its effect. We can take our time in figuring things out from there. Now, in case he does wake up, it's extremely important, especially considering what Leah just told me, that you don't attack him. Defend yourself if you must, but if you engage him with darkness, he'll use it against you. The other thing, he trailed, when he enters stasis, Vance will be helpless. Now, I know you probably have several bones to pick with him. I also know how easy it would be to pick up a pillow. But please, I implore you, don't. Just wait for the seal to break and let me handle him. The vampire sighed. Smothering him would be too clean, she thought grimly. Soren underestimated just how much she wanted to murder him, though she tried to shake free the insidious thoughts. Raising his hand, he brought it to the door, and the key panel suddenly went from red to green with a slight beep. Be careful. Rain stepped forth into the foul-smelling suite on the other side. Spread out considerably, it was a higher-quality room with a separate bedroom attached, and she motioned for Leah to stay put. The last thing she needed was to bring her home in a body bag. The thought bothered her as she approached the bedroom, thankfully thin enough that she only had to push the door open a little further. Bunched in the sheets, Vancelin was out cold. There was no sign of his minion, though his own appearance was frightening enough. Dressed in a pair of bright red pajamas, sporting aces of every suit, the fabric probably went for more than the room. Clinging to one of several pillows, his nails, which were unusually sharp, had cut multiple lines across their surfaces, exposing a fair amount of foam beneath. What was more startling, however, was his face, and the fact that as he slept it was drawn back in a hideous grin. Lying across a mattress soaked in drool, he panted and tightened his grip every now and again. Rain felt her skin crawl. Those teeth were definitely not for decoration. Holding the compress, she repeated Soren's instructions as she quietly set it down on his midsection. He didn't wake, though he did tense a bit and shuffled over with a groan. The moment it touched him, he relaxed, and very slowly the seams of his jaws began to close. Within 30 seconds, his teeth had returned to normal, and within 50, he had let go of the pillow completely. Watching his features shift, she let out a small sigh of relief. No more than a minute later, the seal broke, and both Soren and Leah were free to enter the room. You don't have to hold that there, Soren said as he pushed open the door. As long as it maintains its temperature, he'll be out. Can't we just finish him? God knows how long the temperature will stay stable. Not here, unfortunately. We can bring him to an undisclosed location in the morning. Right now, I think we should take him back to the room and wait. Rain crossed her arms. Undisclosed location? Soren, I thought this would be over tonight, Leah sighed. It is over. Walking up to him, Soren whispered something in a strange tongue, causing several white binds to appear. I can't perform a real binding here, but that'll hold him for about 10 hours, which should be more than enough time to get done what we need to. He went to pull Vance off the bed, only to draw back the moment he touched him. Question. How long has it been since the last person disappeared in Greenville? Couple weeks, Rin shrugged. Didn't he kill a little girl recently? Leah nodded. What's wrong? Can't you carry him? A couple of weeks, Soren bit his lip. I can carry him. Anyone could. He's almost dead. I'm not sure I want to try and move him on my own. There's practically nothing left. Anyone who tried would have quickly come to the realization that Vance was nothing but bones. I'm pretty sure he stopped eating because of Liz, Leah said. See? He had to have loved her. Soren looked really confused now. Shaking his head, he stared at Vance while running a hand along his neck. Emotion transfer is one thing, but risking suicide? Not in a million years. There's gotta be something we're missing. The only person Vanceland cares about is himself. He was all over this girl. It was like Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. Guess it doesn't matter now, Soren admitted as he carefully and somewhat uneasily reached for him again. Just makes my job easier. He's not gonna last long like this anyhow. Will he die? Leah asked curiously. Well, yes, but what? Vance's system, it doesn't work like normal people when it comes to food. If he stops absorbing souls, his body will convert his own energy instead. Basically, he'll eat himself. And when that happens, he'll cease to exist. Good. Saves the world some trouble, Rain said bluntly while Leah fixed her a sharp glare. Are you okay with that, Soren? It's what I've been trying to accomplish. There's a balance, Leah. Without it, everything falls to chaos. Vanceland has upset that balance and needs to be removed from the equation. If you absorb the soul of another being, that soul will cease to exist. Vanceland has killed hundreds of people. That's hundreds of innocent souls that no longer exist in any manner at all. Death would be a blessing for him after the things he's done. I'm a tolerant person, but even I've got my limits. Are you sure it's not just because you're someone from the light? She asked calmly. Of course. Both Rain and my cousin wield darkness, and I'm not looking to hurt them. When someone tips the scales, it has to be corrected, light or darkness. And Vance, he's had it coming for a long time. Come on, Leah, he needs to be put down. Rain's curiosity piqued upon hearing he knew another dark wielder, but she didn't ask. I guess, Leah muttered, though she felt a twinge of pity. Leaving it at that, Soren dragged him toward the elevator. What if the others touch him? Rain asked. Why would they? Because Sam's an idiot. Chuckling slightly, he shook his head. He's not going to wake up unless someone removes that hot pack. I just put a bind on him, so even if he does, worst he can do is run his mouth. Just be careful, she said as they headed back to the room. Unless one of you spontaneously spawns Grimdark, he's not going anywhere. And since I don't think that's even possible, I wouldn't worry about it. Soren set him down beside the bathroom door before pulling it open and stepping inside. I'll catch you guys in the morning. Still not rightly thrilled about sleeping in the tub, he did, however, manage to do so within several minutes of lying down. The rest of the night was met without interruption, although around 4 a.m, the silence was broken by a blood-curdling scream as Sam bolted upright in his chair. Rain was the first one out of bed. Leah jumped and poor Matt nearly fell off the mattress. Barreling over, Sam threw up. He looked absolutely terrified, and there were literally tears running down the sides of his face. Leah winced as he got sick. What's wrong? Rain asked tersely. Oh, fuck! Leaning back, Sam pulled his hat down over his face. God damn it! Sam, what the hell was that about? Matt stammered. Ugh, bad dreams. Bad dreams? Yeah, really bad. Do you always throw up when you have nightmares? Leah asked. Night terrors, he clarified with an exhaustive groan. Used to get them as a kid. Bad dreams on steroids. I took medication for it, but sometimes they come back. Yeah, I'll say, my God. You gonna clean that up? Matt nodded toward the puke. Give me a fucking minute, man. That shit was... Holy fuck! Sam screamed again as he went to get up and his eyes suddenly widened. What the hell is it now? You're awake. Yeah, and so is he. He pointed across the room toward Vanceland, who was now wide awake and staring directly at him, eyes giving off a tentative, if not curious, golden glow. Thanks for waking him up, Sam. Rain glared at Vance. Soren has him bound, so don't touch him, she added. Hey, it's not my fault, Cutting him off, the bathroom door opened and Soren stepped out. What's going on?
You know, I'd like to ask you the very same question, asshole.
Vance's remark caused him to turn.
What, you gonna take a picture?
Taking note of the hot pack still resting across his midsection, he reached down and pulled it off.
I don't know what you people are trying to pull here, but if this is some kind of group orgy, I don't want any part of it.
Dropping the pack to the floor, he got to his feet before realizing he was still in his pajamas.
I'll tell you what, this is probably just as awkward for you as it is for me, so I'm gonna go back to my room and pretend like I don't know what's going on right now. I'll worry about kicking your asses for this tomorrow.
I don't think so. Soren took a quick step forward, to which Vance stopped and shook his head.
Hey, Soren.
Reaching up with one hand, his eyes slanted in the boy's direction.
Have a nice flight.
Vance snapped his fingers, and a gust of powerful wind suddenly shattered the window while some kind of invisible force yanked the boy straight through it. Watching in terror, Rain's eyes went copper. How the hell?
You want to be next? You really are a little shit, aren't you?
He muttered as Leah ran to the ledge. Despite the 3-story drop, Soren had somehow managed to land on his feet and immediately darted back into the building. Watching in horror, both Matt and Sam were terrified, although Matt looked ready to throw up himself after what Vance had just did. You're sick, Rain snapped.
Really? Because from where I'm standing, I left your fucking spit shit of a town alone, and looky here. Here you are with the whole team helping that little brat. What, winning wasn't good enough for you? I should kill you right now. But I'd rather enjoy watching Soren do it, because when he finds out about you...
He already knows, she said evenly. We're not like each other at all.
And the fact you just brought that up out of absolutely nowhere?
Vancelin grinned, exposing rows of razor-sharp teeth.
You're gonna get yours, Rain. Mark my words.
Not in this lifetime, she sneered. Soren's gonna kill you.
Please,
he rolled his eyes.
He couldn't kill me even if he wanted to. Obviously, if he has to bring along 2 worthless half-breeds like yourselves, and...
Turning towards Sam and Matt, he arched a brow.
Well, that's interesting,
he said as his eyes met Sam's, who only looked even more confused. Rain's temper flared.
What the fuck did you just call me, you half-demon piece of shit? Half-demon? If you know Soren, then you know I'm human, which must really burn for you now, doesn't it? That someone like me can actually have a life while you just stand there on the sidelines? That's all you've ever done, isn't it? That's why you hate. That's why you side with them. You're pathetic. I'll admit I ate my words, but you're the one who still believes you have a chance.
Shut up! Rain tried to remain calm. You were some blonde's bitch for a solid month. You starved yourself all because of some misplaced emotions. I can tell you're still beat up over it.
At least I got to have the experience. You're just a jealous little bitch with a complex.
Experience, please, Rain snorted, replacing her rage with cynicism. I'm not jealous. What's there to be jealous of? You made a bunch of high schoolers dance like monkeys. That's nothing new. They do that all by themselves. Liz flat out rejected you. She hates you. She couldn't even look at you. His expression did falter, though only for a second.
Yes, the truth can be a powerful thing. However, it's also the truth, he emphasized. Liz cared enough and would have continued to do so if it wasn't for that stupid little incident, and you, my friend, would still to this day be running a mile-long reputation as a class-cutting dropout. You can fling your dumb little insults at me all you like, but in the end,
he shook his head,
you're a monster to them, and that's all you'll ever be. You don't have much in the lines of a personality anyway, and hiding the fact that you're a freak isn't all that easy now, is it? How daunting that must be to reveal your soul through your eyes, if you think I haven't noticed. You're an interesting case. I'd love to sink my teeth into you, but your soul is diseased, contaminated. You're not human, you never will be, and therefore, he snickered, you're not even worth my time.
Rain arched an eyebrow. I couldn't care less about a stupid high school reputation, and I'm so glad you don't think I have a personality, because I'd rather stay this way than be an arrogant dickhead like yourself. You're a bigger freak than I'll ever be, you cult abomination. I'm glad my soul doesn't make you hungry, but guess what? I'm still gonna kill you anyway, and I'm gonna enjoy doing it.
I'm quite proud to be an arrogant dickhead, actually, Vance mused. And at least I have a soul, believe it or not. You, on the other hand, that shriveled thing couldn't feed a rat, which is about all you're actually worth. And if you think you're gonna kill me, then you might as well go kill yourself too, because you're the biggest fucking hypocrite I've ever met. I mean, for fuck's sake, you're a vampire.
He ignored Sam, who began to point at her with a look of aggravation.
You eat people. And don't feed me that I'm a fucking vegetarian bullshit, because what happened in that hallway was not some Stephanie Meyer sparkling pussy crap, okay? You're a killer, which is why you're jealous in the first place, because you can't control it. You can't get close to anyone, because if you do, they just might bleed a little.
Gee, the opinion of a soul eater means so much to me. Rain placed a hand over her heart. Your soul's as dark as they get, you fucking cannibal. I'm not a hypocrite. You don't know me. Your mother died, and your father only sired you so you could be his little portal maker. You're useless. Do me a favor and stop eating so you can just die, you cult son of a whore.
Well, it's nice to know how you really feel. Guess I hit a nerve if you're going to be kicking below the belt. Clearly, my opinion makes a mountain of difference, because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be so adamantly, so desperately trying to hold back tears. My parents didn't give a fuck, but what about yours? Were they ever there for you? Did dear old dad ever comfort his little freak? Or were you just a doormat? I bet you spent hours staring out the bars of your window wondering what it would be like on the other side. To be loved? To have people actually care? Or maybe you just never knew there was anything other than that. Did they keep you in a box? Because you sure like to keep yourself in one. You want to play it close to the chest? You're just as much of an outcast even in your own circles. Or isn't that right? You can pretend all you want, but the eyes never lie.
He pointed towards his own and flipped her off.
And yours are as honest as they come.
Rain's anger was present, and her resolve was ready to snap. His questions about her parents made her eyes shift black. Her useless mother had only seen her existence as a means to an end, and her father saw her as someone who needed to be unmade. Being abandoned by him had given her mother free range. Rain had spent years in her care, suffering poverty and abuse. She was glad the woman had killed herself after she had finally gotten old enough to fight back. No one had to know. She could feel her nails breaking the skin of her palms. She had been made into a killer, and for a while the notion had sat well with her. Love and kindness were luxuries. Whenever she'd been exposed to them, they were quickly and ruthlessly taken away. The fact that he seemed to know bothered her. No one could know. She had to silence him. Her throat felt dry, but she pressed on, unwilling to let him win. "This isn't about me, Vance," she insisted, no longer sounding calm. "I appreciate your psychoanalyzing, but this is about you. We're going to kill you. You're outnumbered and alone. How does that feel?"
"Go ahead."
He threw out his arms.
"I'm standing right here. You can't hurt me. You can't even touch me. I had you on the floor like a dog, and before this is over, I'll have you as my slave. How does that feel? You bowed at my feet. I'm your fucking god. Your darkness belongs to me, and for all your worthless little trappings and insults, you're the one who's going to have to live with that. I'm more powerful than any of you combined, so maybe you should get back down on the floor where you belong."
"You're nothing but some arrogant half-breed on a power trip," Ren said in disgust. "My darkness is my own. Just because you manipulate a different form of it doesn't mean anything. Yours comes at a price. I'm never going to bow down to you, not ever."
"Oh, really?"
Snapping his fingers, his eyes narrowed, and suddenly, as before, the strange compulsion was back.
"How about we put that to the test then, shall we?"
"Fuck you!" Ever the defiant one, Rain's eyes widened as she felt the compulsion beginning to grow. The desire to listen was there once more, but she fought it tooth and nail.
"Bow, you bitch!"
Vance hissed through his teeth.
"You bow to me! You eat your fucking words, you worthless piece of shit!"
"I will not!" Rain hissed back. She didn't regret it, but she wanted to. She had to listen, and her knees began to bend, much to her dismay.
"You have no choice!"
Vance screamed.
"So next time you feel like opening your mouth, you remember who owns you!"
He snapped, only to stop as the door flew open and Soren stormed in.
"This isn't over."
With that, he vanished into the void, releasing Rain from his hold, while the others stared in awkward disbelief. The pressure began to leave her chest, although the thought of being under Vance's control made her sick, and Rain hastily bolted out the door. Watching her go, Soren looked confused. "What just happened?" "I don't know, but I'm gonna go with this is all a bad dream." Matt laid down and pulled the covers over his head while Leah buried her face in her hands. "Vance and Rain just verbally assaulted each other," she said quietly. "Dude!" Sam shook his head. "They just had a bitch fight over who was more miserable." "I can't believe they said those things." Leah felt upset, and she hadn't even been the one insulted. Rain, meanwhile, had gone outside. She sat in an alleyway, knuckles bruised and bloodied from beating a trash can. Her eyes were black, and she was crying as she struggled to find some sort of resolve, but his words were true, and they rang repeatedly. Vance wasn't far from her state either. Having returned to his own room, he slammed the door behind him and stormed to bed, at which point he collapsed into the mattress, grabbed a pillow, and buried his face in it with a scream.